You told me that much like Terry Papineau, by the way, from Twitter, who
Oh, yeah,
shout out to him.
that's right.
I'm also talking to him soon. I want
Yeah,
to say next
good.
week or something along those lines.
Right.
But just like him, you're 100% into uranium. You told me that what did you tell me? The 2020 March crash hurt you, got you thinking, by which you took out some of the money out of your 401k, added it to
Correct.
your trading portfolio, went all in on uranium. And but so you did that at age 60, I guess, 59, because you're 61
Well,
now, so you were 59, I guess, at the time. But that's relatively close to retirement in my eyes, because
risky,
you
huh?
retire at like 65. That's what people retire at here, 67, some among those lines.
60, yeah, 65 is generally, I don't want to, I've been in this so long, I want to see if I can retire this year. That's not a guarantee.
But so you're not looking for the door or anything, like you're not planning on scaling out right now at around the $60-$70 level, are you?
Uh, no, I might on some of them,
Hmm.
I mean, like I said, I got in early, so I can say, and I'm not a good, that's another self-deprecating thing I could say about myself, is that I'm really bad at selling. A lot of retail guys are bad at selling. They think this thing's going to just keep, once you see it going up, oh man, we're in, we're good, we're going. This looks good. Just like this little, past couple weeks here, with the, the war going on, that has kind of, been a little bit of a catalyst. It's true.
We're getting into a very interesting topic here. That's true. And that's actually the second reason why I was looking forward to this discussion. But just before we get into it, because we'd otherwise get a bit too far off topic on your portfolio, let's maybe talk a little bit about how you've built that portfolio of yours. Is it because you said you have a lot in there, but what are you focusing it on? Is it producer focused or advanced developers, near term producers, or are you speculating mostly on juniors? What do you have in there? How should I look at this?
It's producers, or to start out with, people who can produce, so a big part of my portfolio is energy fuels, like some of these, like Encore. I have Encore, Energy. So energy fuels, to me, though, that if you look at it, they have the only mill in the U.S. that's licensed mill. But everything is going to flow to that company. If they decide to turn the uranium part of their mill on. Right now, they're doing some rare earth stuff, and that might be very good too. But if the spot price of uranium goes up to 70, I would think that they might. Well, I also know that they're trying to get the mill to do two things. Do two things. Do rare earths and uranium processing. So, man, you do that, and they also have a mill tolling agreement with Consolidated Uranium.
Right.
So those are things that are very important. But UR Energy has been a producer before. I liked Jeff Klenda. So those things are important. So Denison Mines, I think, is an excellent company. I think their idea of doing a in situ in the Athabasca Basin with the way they talked about it, Jeffrey Cates, with the freeze around the underground freeze system where you're doing in situ mining. It will be, and then their mine is very high grade. So the high grade thing is important. Encore Energy, I think you got to go with the management team there. You got Bill Sharif and Paul Goranson, who was with Energy Fuels. That Bill Sharif had Energy Metals back in the last bull market and turned that around and sold that to Uranium One very successfully. I think he's doing a good thing. They bought Arzaga, and that transaction is still kind of playing with the stock price, it looks like. And it looks like the stock price, they're going to try to get their stock on the NASDAQ coming up. So that'll be great. That'll provide more liquidity, hopefully.
Okay, so how many companies do you have? You have a lot of them, huh?
It's probably 12.
Okay,
12,
well, that's not too much.
Maybe more.
I think there's probably like 50 or 60 companies out there, though. So
I have to look, but I'm not. Some of them you like Elevate Uranium. I've never heard of that until a lot of people about it. Just kind of popped out of nowhere, but you can't research all these companies, and I don't think you can be in all these. You just can't. it's impossible. I recently, I was able to, in the last kind of dip, get into Lotus resources, just get in, get some shares of that. And they're going to probably have to consolidate. Like I did buy some Boss resources also, and they had a recent consolidation of their stock. So, my big number of shares went to, below 10,000. That's okay. But then, the value of the shares still stayed the same.
But are you, so you do have some exposure to Africa? I recently spoke to Global Atomic.
I have some shares of Global
Okay.
and GoVX. Like I said, if you mention the company, I probably have it.
Okay.
Energy, I got some. I don't have, like I said, the first names I gave you, like even Peninsular, they're going to be a producer. I mean, and they're cheap.
Yeah. Okay, John. So about 12 companies you have on there.
I think strongly. Yes.
Okay. I like hypothetical scenarios though. So let's say, gun to your head scenario, you had to get rid of all of those holdings and only keep 3 stocks. Which ones would you keep?
Ooh, good question. I'd have to keep Energy Fuels. I got UEC too, by the way, but I would probably, dump UEC. But let me see, who would I keep? I'd have to say that I would keep Encore, and I would probably keep, it's a toss up between UR Energy and Denison Mines.
Okay, so the American produce, basically the companies that are, let's be real here, Energy Fuels, Encore, URG, that's real companies, that's real experience. Those are guys that have been at it before. Those are companies that, if they want, they're going to get into production. That's the way that I understand it. So
yes.
I don't know in terms of upside, like, are you going to have more upside with a junior that hits something in the basin? Sure.
Yeah, sure.
But thinking in probabilities, that's what Rick Rule, for example, always tells me, is that build your portfolio not in black and white. Like, don't ask yourself, okay, is this gonna do a 10x? Ask yourself, what is the probability that this stock is gonna give me promising returns that is gonna outperform whatever else, right? So what is the probability for a junior to hit something in the Athabasca Basin? I don't know. There's a possibility, but a probability, everything could happen, right?
Fission had some good results. Fission had some really good results recently. They've been, and even Pure Point Uranium had some, one of these companies is going to hit something. I mean, there's no question about it.
That's one of them should, and then picking the right one would be the wild card, right? So
yes.
But I like it. I like the companies that you mentioned. I think I own all 3 of them. Yeah.
Okay.
Fair to say. So Global Atomic too, by the way, we talked about that. Some of the others. So I don't diversify too much. Like, I don't have 25 companies. I think I'm in around that 10. That's a good place.
Got a few others that I didn't mention too. I just
but that about does it. The gun to your head scenario is most of the time my favorite one. I guess that about does it for the portfolio portion. Let's go into the second part that I told you. I'll probably cut the interview here or whatever, because this is a completely different topic, but we sort of talked about where